Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano video and Happy New Year to everybody tuning in. I hope 2025 is a really good one for all of us with crypto. It looks to be shaping up very nicely, so we'll see how it goes, and you can count on lots of updates here on the channel throughout the year, so subscribe if you're new. The reason behind this video is on January 1st, I put out this post here on X. So a challenge 4K ADA into 4 Cardano native assets. I said I would pick 4 assets that were recommended by the community below, invest into them, and then every quarter we would look at this, see what they are, decide if I keep them assets or diverge into other assets. And I said drop your suggestions below. So there was a great response on this. A lot of really good projects were listed. Obviously there's a huge number of projects. So I have taken it, I've analyzed it, I've broken it up into different categories, which I'll go through with you in a minute, and I have invested into a few of them. Now, I don't want this to be that, oh, these are the ones that everybody should invest into or anything like that. If I was investing in this fund into projects over a different timeline, I'd be looking at different projects, but I probably went with safer projects that I'm okay with waiting until until Q2, the beginning of Q2. We'll revisit this. We'll see, do I hold or do I move them into other assets then? But I'll talk a bit more about that as we go through this. So you can see here, there's a lot of different projects and there's a lot of names that kept coming up over and over again, a lot of really popular projects. So what I've done is I've taken the most popular ones and put them in here. So the ones that kind of got more than 1 or 2 mentions, I have shortlisted them all or put them as a favorite on a new TapTools account. If you're new to Cardano, TapTools is a great way to keep an eye on all the different projects, the stats and everything that's going on. So you can see here, this is the list of projects. I then took all the names and put them in here. So this is just a very simple page put together. So the biggest cap coins that got a lot of mentions were WMTx, World Mobile. People who watch the channel will know I am a big fan of World Mobile, what they're doing. I've had Mickey on the channel multiple times at this point. I think 2025 is going to be a very big year for them with mainnet, with lots of different partnerships, and things finally go to the next level, I feel, for World Mobile. Igon was another really popular one. Again, a favorite of mine with what they're doing with the pilots with the Fortune 500 companies, with the staking coming online and a few other aspects. I think Igon is poised to have a really good year too. SNEK then, most people on Cardano are going to be very familiar with SNEK. They have a really good community, just crossed 40,000 holders, I think yesterday or the day before. So again, it's always going to be up there as one of the most popular ones and one of the biggest performers last year, I would say too. Hosky token, again, another fan favorite, another community favorite. Hosky token, I think with what all the talk with Charles and Quantum Hosky and a few different aspects that are going on there, there's potential there for it to do very well. And I'd say that is, as well as having a really good community, things like that are attracting more people into it. Some of the other tokens, not the largest cap ones, but that got a lot of mentions, was Stuff token by, well, Book.io or Stuff.io now. I think that was one of the most mentioned tokens. That community really came out in force. Indy, so from Indigo. Indy have some updates coming out, a new product coming out fairly soon as well. I have covered it on the channel before. I've done tutorials on how to use it. It's a synthetics protocol on Cardano. Probably due an upgrade or another tutorial at this point. That's something over the next few weeks. I really want to dive into DeFi tutorials with the narrative of Bitcoin, using Cardano DeFi and using it as a layer for Bitcoin DeFi. Then I think we need to highlight the different protocols that are here on Cardano. Fluid tokens, another one in the DeFi side for Cardano, doing stuff on Bitcoin and on Cardano. They have Aquarium, which is going to be Babel fees, or their implementation of Babel fees, coming out very soon. I think all the audits are finished. So again, another really popular project and one I think could do well. Angels is a project that I don't know a huge amount about. I know that the project did buy Levy Finance, which is another DeFi play on Cardano, originally from the Ape Society. They built Levy Finance, sold it on then to Angels when the Ape Society were leaving Cardano. And what they do at Angels is the income from Levy Finance is airdropped to Angels holders. So that is an incentive for people to hold the project, and seems that they have a fairly good community over there too, based on the responses. Nuvula then is another one that could potentially do well. They will be running a partner chain. Vola is the partner chain that they're going to be running on Cardano. What they do is they are a deep in play in that when you hold the Nuvula token, they then invest into other DeFi plays like Igon, and what they do is what they earn from them tokens is then available to Nuvula holders, or Nuvula holders that stake, then earn all the other tokens. So it's a way for people to diversify into other tokens too. LQ then from Liquid. It is the biggest lending and borrowing protocol on Cardano. Similar to Aave, if you're coming in from other sides, they have pools, lending. And again, that's one I need to get a tutorial out on fairly soon. If we do get the inflow of Bitcoin users or other people coming into the Cardano ecosystem looking to use DeFi, lending or borrowing, then LQ is one of the ones that's going to be there at the front to be utilized. Other projects then that got a few mentions were Butane, which is a synthetics protocol that will be launching on Cardano. Coming out the end of January, the mainnet should launch. So obviously there is anticipation building of what's going to be there and expectation of things going well. Again, this is one that you have to nearly wait and see how the platform performs and see then where the token fits into it and how that's all going to work. LENFI is another lending and borrowing protocol on Cardano. Recently, they have had an issue where they had to get everybody to withdraw their liquidity from the contracts due to an issue that they found themselves, and they got everyone to get their funds out. No funds were lost. So what they're doing is patching the issue in the contracts that they have. And as far as I know, they are going to implement some of the Plutus V2 aspects into the new contract. Haven't seen a timeline of when that one will come out yet. But again, they have a fairly decent community there. Titan is one who, anytime I put out a post on X, they generally show up the Titan community. So shout out to them. They are similar to Nuvula in that they invest into other deep in protocols. And for holding the Titan token, you earn some of the other tokens. Then COPI, Cornucopius, Rob and Josh have been on the channel here multiple times. Again, huge community with Cornucopius. On the gaming side, if gaming really kicks off in this cycle, COPI is a decent one to have a handle on too, and one that I'm holding from a long time back now. VYFI then, one of the dexes on Cardano, still on V1 contracts, but what they're doing is they're not upgrading to V2 contracts. They're going to go straight through to Plutus V3. So they will aim to be the first DEX anyway on V3 contracts and one of the first apps on Cardano to use Plutus V3 contracts. Now for DEXs that are already on V2, then I wouldn't say that there's any huge rush to go from V2 to V3 in terms of what extra features can be added, because V2 really did add a lot in there. But if you're still on V1, then it is good to see them moving off that fairly quickly. But there's excitement coming on what could be there. Bodega then is a prediction market on Cardano, recently launched their token, so it's not one I know a huge amount about, but there was a decent few mentions for that one in the comments. Memecoin mentions, obviously there was a lot of one-offs with people mentioning tokens that might have launched yesterday or talking about ones that are bonding on SNEK Fund right now. Some of the ones that are around a little bit that were mentioned and got a decent few were Nike Pig, which is coming from Charles Hoskinson's Pig, Nike, and it's one that's been around for a while at this point. Chad, one that done extremely well when it launched, had its fall off and seems to be stabilizing, so it's one to keep an eye on and see where it goes. Squeak, don't know a huge amount about that, and Boo is another one that got a good few mentions in the comment section. Okay, so how did I break it up? I initially wanted to put 4K into 4 assets. That was the idea, and we just look at them and see how they go over the first quarter. But I figured if I broke it down a little bit more, that we could actually monitor more assets, and that's why I've talked about the different ones here, just that people can get a bit of an understanding about different protocols that are building on Cardano. So what I've done is broke it up like I generally talk about breaking up your portfolio. So I generally have my portfolio broke into different sections. I have a big percentage into some of the more stable stuff like WMT or Igon, which I see as long-term projects. And then I break it down into some into DeFi, some into more risky, and then some into smaller percentages into the high risk stuff. So I put funds into the 4 biggest ones. I put 600 ADA into each of these projects here, as I think Q1 should be good for all of them. Maybe not just as high of a potential multiples coming on some of them as you might get on some of the more risky tokens, but they're ones that I'm happy to sit on now for 3 months and then check it back then. If I was setting up this portfolio, I was going to manage it on a weekly basis, I'd probably veer a little bit more into some of the riskier stuff just because I could change it out at any point if something happens. But these tokens here, I'm fairly happy just to let this sit and see how it goes. So I've got the 4 of them with 600 ADA into each of them. And then out of all the other ones that were mentioned here, there was some of them I was a bit unsure of which to go into, and some of them that I left out that, again, if the time frame was different, I might be looking at investing into some of them instead. I went with Fluid tokens, the Bitcoin and Cardano link there, lending and borrowing, offering DeFi functionality to Bitcoin users with Aquarium and Babel fees coming in. I think they're poised to do fairly well. Then I went with Liquid Finance, again, DeFi aspect. I think there is good potential there, or getting attention from newer people coming into the Cardano space. Nuvula was another one I went with because people like to be able to earn other tokens with that. So people who hold the Nuvula token and stake it, then you get to earn other tokens. So it's a yield bearing asset, just like Titan or like the Tokyo token. You hold that and you earn other tokens from it, which is an attractive proposition from others out there. The other one I went with then, I did debate going with Indy or going with Butane, both synthetics protocols. I took the gamble on Butane with the launch coming up. Generally, in a longer term portfolio, I wouldn't look at something that has a launch coming up because it can go either way. Sometimes you get a build up to the launch and then you get a buy the rumor, sell the news. But as it was a smaller percentage of the portfolio, I took the risk on it. If I was doing this really on a bigger portfolio, I would be looking to put smaller percentages, maybe something into these that are the really high risk tokens. But for this, as it was only 4K, when you start to break it down, the swap fees and things like that coming into it just don't make it worth it. So this is what it looks like right now. There is Hosky, SNEK, Igon and WMTx holding just about 14 to 15%. You can see I bought these, if you look here, you can see it was actually 2 hours ago when I bought them earlier today, and I'm only getting around to recording now. So you can see at the time I put the 600 ADA into them ones. And then there is Butane, Nuvula, Fluid Token and Liquid Finance are sitting just under the 10%, maybe 9 to 10%. LQ must have went down slightly since I put it in, but I put, what was it, 400 ADA into each of them. So maybe I'll leave a link to this, the portfolio on Fetch, where anyone can come in and look at it. Over time, this monitors the wallet, so you get to see if I made any changes. The plan now isn't to make any changes until the start of Q2. We'll see how it goes. Let me know down below what tokens you would have put into it. Maybe I will extend the post for Q2 out on YouTube as well as X to get some feedback from people on what projects they think would look good for the Q2 side of this. Whether these ones will be held or sold off into other assets, the decision will be down to the community. Thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. Share it out if you got some value. Let me know thoughts on this down below, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.